Thanks for joining us here on the next episode of our podcast here at Southern Lighting Solutions. Had a couple of week break due to the holiday. Going to get back on the air with you guys. I'm here with Tarek, my co-founder. How are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well.
Good, glad to hear it. We've been playing a lot with the video, lighting, and audio settings in the room, hoping to bring you a little bit better quality as we move forward. We're going to be learning a lot about this new setup here, trying to do a better job. One of the things that we have been doing a lot of here in the studio is do it yourself.
Right.
We've been experimenting with sound, experimenting with light, new microphones, new cameras, that sort of thing. But today we're going to talk a little bit about people who are trying to do it themselves with lighting.
Yep.
And how, it doesn't always have to be necessarily about the dollar for us, how we can help people without charging them an arm and a leg.
Can help, and how we have helped, yeah.
And bring up a couple of stories that
Right.
we've done before. So, the idea for this podcast came when you, when you first came to stay, I guess you can say, here in the U.S., you started watching some YouTube videos.
Just YouTube videos, and then just, seeing stuff which is done in stores, and it was enlightening. It was really eye-opening.
And, tell us a little bit of it. About what you saw, what you heard, that kind of thing.
You really don't want to shoot because, people that do it yourself videos, they really have a lot of good information, but it reaches a peak, a plateau, and then it just falls off. With a lot of the videos, a lot of the stores that, we see in the malls and, just anywhere in general. An example is strip light. For some reason, people start and they really go into selecting good strip light and, the various brands, whether it's on Amazon or stores, and how they're going to install it in the bathroom, in the kitchen, cabinets. Almost always people forget the most fundamental basics of the strip, which is the profile. You spend all this money on strip lighting and you want to make it look nice and your fancy colors, although, people sort of tend to overlook when they're going to use RGB lighting in their bedrooms or living rooms. That's a personal choice. But aluminum profiles, they're designed for a reason. They act as heat sinks. We've helped people that have come in that have installed all this strip light and it's just falling off because they've installed it, right into the woods or, on the walls and little crevices. And whatnot. And if they just use the profile, they pay just a little bit more money. Even if they don't want to put a diffuser, a cover over it, just the profile itself will hold the strip light, will increase the lifetime of the strip light, will help with heat dissipation. Heat is LED chips, LED strip lights' worst nightmare. It's its ultimate enemy. If it overheats and there's nothing to take that heat away, which is what an aluminum profile does, your don't say your warranty period goes, but your lifetime goes down. And then you wonder, well, what happened? Well, it's not sticking, it burned fast, why is this going on? I paid a lot for this. Because people didn't research it enough. It wasn't in enough of those videos, and they end up looking at the dollar value. Well, for the investments and what you're doing, it helps to pay a bit more. And it doesn't matter. It could be a $1 per foot strip, it could be a $10 per foot strip. And it's just something that we've seen it all too often. We've helped a couple people solve their problems, with that simple change, and obviously they're very thankful for it. But if they just knew at the time, it would have saved them a lot of heartache and headache because, the strip's falling down or it's burned in certain sections. Now they have to come back and remove all of the strip, which is still fine, but it's going to have an issue later on to get the profile in and then put all the work in.
Right. So when we're thinking about strip, I want to take a step back real quick and not hit my microphone. When we're thinking about strip, a lot of people see it and, when they're thinking LED lights, we've talked about it at the workbench, they're little chips. And so strips are basically strips of chips.
Correct.
And, what you see a lot, especially in the United States, is like exposed strip that's just a bunch of chips on the wall. And, I'm trying to paint a picture for folks that it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Strip offers that utility in the solution, but you can also, whatever your lighting solution would want to
Sure.
be, but you can also get, I guess you would call it a fixture for them to go in, or an extrusion for them to mount on. So you can do all sorts of things. Let's talk about a couple of things. You already covered a few. You covered heatsink.
Yep.
But you can also create a fixture that would have a lens that would do something specific with the light that came off of it. I believe you did something
Sure.
with somebody in a hallway for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's for most people, they need a simple channel, simple profile. Now, if you're going, this project that we worked on down a hallway, the issue was how are they going to manipulate the light to go where they want it to go? Because you can't change the laws of physics,
Mm-hmm.
but you can throw the light in a different way with different reflectors, different angles, different kinds of profiles if you want something to be hidden. This is what we did. We basically provided them with an extrusion that they did not know exists. And it's not their job to know it exists. It's ours to find them that solution.
Sure.
So we ended up, and the cost saving on this was immense, as you know. They went from having to spend $120 a fixture down to $30 a fixture. And on, 2,000 feet, that's a lot of saving. That's a huge cost saving for them.
Right. That's a good amount. And these are things that we work through with people. So, there are, I guess you can call them touch points that you want to look at on any project.
Sure.
What kind, what base are you using? Are you using a fixture? Are you using strip? Could you use one or the other to have a better idea, or to have a better output? I guess
right. I mean, a good example and a really fantastic, RGB lighting product that you find on Amazon as an example is the Philips Hue.
Mhm.
And they sell loads and loads of this strip light, and it's fantastic. But you see all these people that are just trying to put little clips on it, or just stick it right on, and it's falling off, and it's not getting the right feel effect that they want. They used a channel. They just asked. We're the best advice is free advice. It's true. I mean, and we've had people that have finally, that we've helped them out, come say, listen, we've got our friend over here. They have a problem with this. They've already used their budget. What can we do? Well, let's. What do they have? What have they done? And when we cycle through, usually 9 times out of 10, the solution is so simple, so minute that when you tell them, it's like a little, a light bulb going off. Ask it.
Right.
We're not gonna, it's not like we're charging you for this advice. No, I mean, we're here to get, obviously, as a lighting company, we're in the business of making money, but that doesn't mean that we're not here to provide a solution if it's, if it makes sense.
Right. And you brought it up, it's like that meme. It's like you keep saying solution. It's like, aha. Yeah, we want to provide a solution. And one of the things that we come in and do is look at your project and take it, like I was saying, from that multi-touch point. Where can we look at each individual fixture, the overall feel, and what have you got going on between maybe fixtures and strip? What kind of extrusions are you using? Lenses, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I mean, there's a whole list of things that we can check out.
Again, and this comes back, if you watched our podcast about design, it doesn't have to be our product. It doesn't have to be, we don't make everything. We don't do everything. But there are companies out there that will have the solution that you need.
Right.
So there's always, there's always a solution out there. And, when people are building their homes and designing a restaurant, architects come up with these beautiful, insane ideas. And 9 times out of 10, it's the contractor that's left scratching their head. Well, how do I do this? And they might go to an electrical distributor and say, well, how do we do this? And they're like, well, we don't know. We're just, tell us what you need. Tell us the parts you have. You have to go back to the architect or the designer. And the architects might not have all of the information, because remember, lighting is a very specific discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Of engineering and architecture itself. It's focused. That's why, like we said in our last podcast, abroad, Europe, Middle East, Asia, you have lighting designers specifically that do nothing else but lighting. They don't touch anything else. It's a
Right.
very specific area of electric. Whereas here, when you have builders, you have general contractors, they just look at the plans and go and try to figure it out on the way. And if they can't do it, tell them, well, we don't know how to do it.
Right.
So that's why we want. That's why we work with distributors. That's why we work with people. Why we work with contractors too. This is what you want. This is how you have to do it. And if there's an issue, well, let's find you a solution. Let's find you a more budgetary, cost-effective solution to make this happen.
And one of the things that I do want to let folks know is I know early on in our sort of business life cycle, a lot of people were confused as to where we would slot in to the process. And the fact of the matter is, as a solutions company, which is why we included it in the name, we can slot in at a lot of different points
Sure.
in any kind of, we can help you remodel a home or a storefront or
Right.
inside a store, or we can be there as part of the construction process. Once the drawings are done and you have an idea of what you want the lighting to look like, we can tell you whether or not, yeah, that's going to work, no, that's not going to work. We can also
Right.
sell you the lights. We even, and I want you to cover this for just a second in terms of solutions. We even work with some of the manufacturers we deal with that aren't us, in terms of specialty solutions, in terms of
Oh,
lenses and extrusions and that kind of thing.
100%, 100%. I mean, we work with some fantastic companies out there that are far better at what they do just because they have so much more experience. So why try to reinvent the wheel,
Right.
so to speak? And with all these solution providers in these certain categories, they have 3, 4, 5 different price points for similar items depending on what you're looking for. So it's always a solution is always there.
Right.
A good example of that was a builder up north that was having issues with one of their houses. They had put new LEDs in. They had tried to do just a 1-for-1 change, and they sell. They're like they're a developer, and I mean, they came to us and it's like, we have an issue. We don't have enough light, and it's causing a problem. So we went back, we helped them with the design that they did. We placed the fixtures exactly in our software in the exact same positions, and all we did is we increased the lumen outputs. Same sizes, same everything. We found the right fixtures, which we had, and said, all you have to do is make this change. Will it slot right in? Yes. Will it give you the same warranty? Yes. Is it expensive? It's about 15% more expensive than what they were paying, but it gave them a solution.
Right. And I mean, want to back up there for a second and talk about price, because one of the things that we can do is everything is about price and quality and all that stuff. And these are all sort of, I guess you can say, different bins that you're going to be, or different parts of a graph.
Sure.
So when you come to us and you're saying, come to Southern Lighting Solutions, and you say, my budget has to remain intact, but I need to do, I need a little more lumen output, and I need a certain amount of varying light fixtures within the project. We can provide that. We can say, okay, great, your budget's got to stay the same, but you can use this light from here and this light from there.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, the budget's got to be realistic as well.
Oh, sure.
That's got to be clear as day, but that we're still gonna do what we can to give them the solution,
right?
To give them the right product that they need, and right. That's so much more fundamentally important than the final sale.
Right.
I mean, the final sale is, it is very, very important. It's what keeps the lights on at the end of the day.
Sure.
But
it's what keeps the microphone running.
Right. But what we found is people that we've helped. So we've helped people fix the solutions, fix the problem. Like, again, I revert back to this trip just because it was so common of a problem that when you finally give them the solution, they start referring their friends over, colleagues that they know. Well, I know someone that wants to do A, B, and C. You fixed it for me. Can you help them right off? They send them over. And so you end up giving them a solution, giving a product, even with the brand they wanna work with. Like I said, people love the Philips Hue because it's a fantastic product. All we're doing is saying, great, you want to do here? Let's pick out the right profile for you and do it right from the beginning. And it ends up being cheaper,
Right.
in the long, because they don't have to go back and get the electrician again or try to, if they're not sure about doing it themselves, how they're going to do it, getting someone to do it for them. It's time and money. And it's not just the time and money that you spend doing it the first time. It's, oh, wow, I need to go and physically, buy more cables, buy more profiles, buy some. So I got to drive to Home Depot. I've got to drive to Lowe's. I got to drive somewhere,
Yeah.
pick one. So, that is also time's money.
Yes.
It all factors in.
It does. And that is one of the things that we are trying to save people is time as well.
Yep.
And want to talk about that do it yourself sort of element. Don't forget that we are here to help provide a solution, and don't forget that a failed DIY project is both time and money.
Absolutely. And again, not to shoot on people, there's some fantastic do-it-yourself videos out there. I mean, really, really, really great stuff out there. But small details make all the difference. And, I can't tell you anything about carpentry or joinery work. It's or, doing stuff in the kitchen. It's not my business, but I can tell you, we can tell you how you install that light properly to make sure that the fortune you spent doing that yourself hasn't gone to waste. It looks nice.
Right. And it is important to also back up just a second and talk about the way.
Right. It's not about the hard. Sorry to cut. It's not about the hardware as well. It could be using the right lumen output of the strip.
Sure.
I mean, we saw some fantastic do-it-yourself staircases, and they were using 1500 lumen strip lights. Like, guys, why? You need 300 lumens per meter. 100 lumens per foot strip. You don't need more than that to get the effect that you're going for. Now, when it looked very nice at the beginning, but when the evening comes around and it's dark outside and you turn it on, you literally get a suntan.
Yeah.
Just stand there and take the light in. Like, oh.
I just want to know why you cut me off.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take a step back real quick to kind of wrap it up here, and specifically focus on what you said about the European and Middle Eastern markets, and that is that there is a specific focus on the lighting, trying to save that time and money there right off the bat.
Absolutely.
And it's like you said, we don't do joinery work. We don't do cabinets. We don't do tables. We don't do plumbing. And, for the most part, we don't do the electricity either. There are electrical engineers and electricians that are trained for such things.
We're not electrical engineers.
We are here to provide solutions in the lighting portion.
The lighting element. Absolutely.
Of all of this. And it's important to know that not having the appropriate light can cost you time and money. Absolutely. It's good to focus on that piece of any project, whether it be commercial, industrial, residential. We can help.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, a good example right off the bat is, and this is away from do-it-yourself, just a bit off topic here, but the most photographed, selfied buildings, places in the world all have the best lighting. And it's unfortunate when you see people that do these huge, beautiful buildings, these beautiful projects, beautiful houses that spend, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on their facades and whatnot, and then have a paltry amount for lighting, just a few floodlights and whatnot. I mean, guys, you spent so much. It's such a fun argument to have with people. You spent all this money. At least light the thing up properly.
He likes to argue with people. I do. Say that.
I do.
But that's a good point to bring up, especially from an architect's point of view. You put all this effort into designing the building, whether it be residential, commercial, industrial, it doesn't matter. All this work has gone into that design, all the little pieces. It's 2020. We can offer all sorts of ways for, even at night, Even at night, you might even be able to get a different view
Absolutely.
of the
You
building.
want it to stand out.
And so it's important to know that even from a home standpoint,
Right.
having that ability to see it in the beautiful sunshine, but also see it at night in lighting that shows off pieces that you might not have noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Is always, it adds a certain element to any kind of building.
I mean, you look, in Paris, the Eiffel Tower. During the day, it's gray, it's bland, it's a monument. You go there at night, and it's a beautiful golden color, golden amber color. It's lit up so well, but the amount of light that went into it wasn't an insane amount. It wasn't any crazy fixtures or design. It was designed, sure, but it was designed for the fixtures to be in the right place, to project the right amount of light, and it's gorgeous.
Right.
And that's where you see a lot of people. That's where it stands out.
Right.
Same thing with the Capitol Hill. It stands out at night.
Right. And it like a beacon in the night. I guess you could say.
It's well lit, designed well. It's simple. It's nothing. It's not RGB and flary. No, the lighting done, for example, in the Capitol is done to bring out the natural color of the stone.
Right. And for it to be sort of a white light in the night.
There you go.
And it's also important to note that with LEDs, a lot of people have backed off of big lighting at night unless it was for safety purposes because of the expense of lighting, having to replace bulbs, having to replace fixtures, the constant electrical. Big thing about LEDs is, lower wattage usage. And, a lot of times you're going to get more lumens per watt. And a lot of times, the only thing you're really going to have to replace, depending on your warranty, is your driver.
And then if you go back to our workbench on drivers, the driver is important, because if you don't have a good driver, you're not really saving money with LED.
And the Germans, they make a good driver.
They do.
And also want to tell folks, remind y'all, we do have a podcast about design. We'd like for you to go watch it. You can see, we kind of walk through a video of Tarek showing off what things kind of look like within the design software, and as a designer works through a hotel room, actually.
Yeah, we did a hotel room, correct.
So, again, Mr. Tarek, co-founder, Southern Lighting Solutions. My name is McHugh David, also a co-founder. We are back with the Get Lit podcast, a podcast brought to you by... Yeah, a podcast brought to you by Southern Lighting Solutions. It's the Get Lit podcast. We're going to try to be a little more consistent with y'all as we've sort of fixed some things. We spent a lot of time, as we like to say, in the lab trying to fix some of the problems we had with this room. And, of course, I keep hitting my microphone. But we appreciate you guys joining us. We haven't quite gotten approved for Apple Podcast and Spotify, but we are going to have audio versions of these coming out just as soon as those platforms approve us. We're waiting for that. I guess the Christmas season. But
just the season to be jolly.
Remember, if you are tackling a big project, remember, you don't have to do it yourself. Get in touch with us. We are the Southern Lighting Solutions. We want to save you.
No project is too big.
No, or too small. But we do want to save you time and money, because those things are valuable. Again, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.